Hey everyone, welcome. All right, it looks like everyone has joined us. We are going to go to Jamie Steinberg first.
Oh, this is
Tis-
kind of like a Harry Bosch in a grand jury scene.
That's right. We promise not to put the screws to you too hard.
Good.
Uh,
Well, God, because I will plead the fifth if
but
it
I
gets
was just going to say, do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing?
I do.
This is such a special season for Bosch, and I think the scenes between you and Madison Lynn are just exceptional this season. Talk
Thank
about
you.
working with her and those poignant moments that really bring the heart to Bosch.
Well, originally that relationship, that character was going to be maybe just a couple of episodes, just to sort of because Harry was working a case that took him to Las Vegas, and his lieutenant said, when's the last time you saw your daughter? And they've been kind of estranged. So if you recall, she was calling him Harry in the beginning of the show, and it wasn't until an episode later on where she calls him dad, and it was this really beautiful moment where had stopped, she had received him, and Michael Connolly just and Eric Obermeyer and the creators felt that Madison and I had a really strong chemistry, and you have to remember she was a kid when she started the show. She was very, very young and was raw and extremely vulnerable and open. And I made a command decision that I wanted to create a kind of protective membrane around us. Um, I didn't want a lot of input or infiltration into that relationship because I really wanted to steer clear of any kind of cliche or tropey things in this relationship. And what it allowed was that it was really about two people that were getting to know each other, that are family. It's his child, she's his father, but they don't know each other. And so they're becoming acquainted. And also, Michael's point, which was really great, was that Harry is such an isolated character, and in his work, he's very much kind of a lone wolf. But in the reacquaintance with Maddie, he suddenly now has his daughter in his life, and so that makes him vulnerable. He can be gotten to. And that makes him, and when Harry's vulnerable, we all know that that makes him very formidable and extremely dangerous. And we've demonstrated what happens when people cross the line, or when Maddie's in, there's any kind of a compromising scenario, what happens, how that activates Harry. And likewise for her. So it's been a very natural progression. And it's been a gift and a privilege for me to observe a young artist like Madison, her growth. Um, I've been right there, in the room with her, observing that. And so I'm her TV dad, but I am a father myself, and I have a daughter as well. And so our there's our TV bond, and then there's our bond that exists in the real world, which is a very, very strong bond. I love and care for her very deeply, and I'm extraordinarily proud of her. I mean, she's just such a fine actor.
Both of you are so good in those scenes this season, though. Oh my goodness.
And it was tough stuff to play, right? Because she's grown and she has all this information. And it was wonderful stuff for her to have to play that conflict of who is my father? Really, who is my father? I think I know him, but I
But
don't.
also, are you willing to cross the line at some point yourself? Are you willing to become, that version of what your dad is?
Right. And that's that great exchange where she says, if somebody's doing wrong, do you have to expose them? And Harry answers very truthfully. He says it depends on how much of the gray you're willing to live in. And that's the thing about Harry, right? He is the quintessential anti-hero. He doesn't wear a white hat and he doesn't wear a black hat. He's somewhere in between, right? He's not really a monochromatic character. He's deeply nuanced, but he has this moral compass and this moral code, which is what I think makes him so intriguing and accessible to people that are not only the readers of the books, but the people that watch the show.
Next up, we'll go to Dale. Dale, you are muted.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, how you doing, Mr. Oliver?
What's up, Deb? Call me Titus, Dale.
All right, Titus. Dale with Volume Room Media. My first question here is, after portraying Harry Bosch for 10 years, it has to be challenging to walk away. What kind of reaction do you hope to get from fans after the final episode airs?
Well, it's been a journey, and it's been an incredibly rewarding and pleasurable journey. And what at the forefront of that is the fan base of this show. Obviously, there was a global fan base that existed for Michael Connelly's books prior to this ever being a show. But not only the acceptance of me playing this character and it finally being realized as you know, in the format, the support and the warmth and the goodwill towards the show has been really incredible. Because if people ain't watching it, then it's
Yeah.
you might as well be at home doing a puppet show for your kids because that's your audience. But it's been overwhelming and very touching and very moving and over the years and the response and with this being the final season, I have interaction with people, on the street and in the world and
And there's
it's
petition.
it's intense. It's very intense. What's interesting is that people are passionate, right? There's nothing remotely sort of pedestrian or passive in the way that they express their excitement about the show being out and how they're enjoying it, but their profound disappointment um, in the idea that this could be the last time that we see this character.
All
Um,
right, next up, Jamie Ruby.
Hi, Jamie from Sci-Fi Vision. Nice to talk to you again. So,
Hey.
talking about the fact that unfortunately we may not see much more of him, what's something that you would have really liked to have gotten to see that maybe we won't? That, if it were to come back or do a movie or whatever, what would you like to see happen for him?
Well, we were in discussions, and this happened one day. Had just shot a scene in this season, and I came out and went to Video Village, and Michael Connolly and Tom Bernardo, and our technical advisor, retired detective LAPD, Tim Marshall, were there, and I had a smile on my face. And Tom said, "Oh, it's a great scene. Yeah, that felt really good. What are you smiling about?" And I said, "I feel like a cop again." And I realized in that moment that I was expressing that, not, which doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with me, but I was expressing the inner voice of Harry. And and within that conversation gestated into me saying, look, in the books, he goes and volunteers as a cold case homicide detective for the little San Fernando Valley Police Department. I said, I asked him, is there a way that Harry could go back to the LAPD? And which he said, yeah. And I said, I think we need to explore that. We've done the PI thing, which has been a great transition, but Harry now feels more like the original Harry. And so that was something that we were plotting for season 4, was to Harry returning to police work, which would make for great drama because he would not be welcomed necessarily, with open arms back in LAPD. Many people would be happy to see him. There'd be a lot of people who would say, "Oh, he's such a pain in the ass," and here we go again. Um, but the quality and the relentless nature of his work as a police officer and having the highest closure rate for homicide cases um, would be the thing that would, they would want him back. So um, yeah, that's something that I feel unfortunate that we weren't able to explore that.
Yeah, that would have been great to see. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Jay Reed.
Hi, Mr. Titus. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much, Doree with the TV Cave. So my question is, can you describe the remainder of the season in 3 words? What fans have to look forward to that aren't caught up?
Oof. Intense, dangerous, and sad.
All right, great words. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Suzanne, over to you.
Hi, I'm Suzanne from TVMEG. How are you doing, Titus?
I'm well. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. So, what can you tell us, if anything, about the series finale, and do you think fans will be happy with it?
Well, I think that we certainly we tell the story, and but there is not closure. As what comes out of Harry's mouth, closure is a myth. I think it's a very powerful season. Some things are resolved. Certain elements in relationships and aspects of cases are resolved. Um, but it's also very open-ended. But it does, in fact, introduce the character of Renee Ballard, played marvelously by Maggie Q. And as you know, she's going to spin off into her own series, Ballard, and that character is introduced in a very organic and interesting way.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jamie Steinberg, back to you.
Certainly, you take away the memories and the friendships and the connections you've made on this series through over the years. But is there some specific Harry Bosch related items that have made their way home with you?
I have a lot of Harry Bosch items. I have a lot of his clothing. Um, I have his badge, which was given to me in a lucite cube, because you can't be running around with an LAPD badge. Um, not that I would get away with it, or nor would I attempt to do that, but I have some of his weapons and his driver's license and his ID card and lots of sort of signature things of his. I have his watch, and I have some of his military ribbons and his shoes, um, and his knives, lots of things, and some photographs of he and Maddie together. So yeah, I have my sort of the crown jewel of my Bosch collection, for lack of a better word. Michael Connolly, when we were doing the final season of Bosch, he gifted me the sign from Hollywood Homicide, "Our day begins when your day ends," which was the actual real sign from Hollywood Homicide, which hangs in my screening room in my house, and I treasure that, and I look at it every day. So it's it's a bittersweet reminder. But you know what? Harry's he's in me. He's a part of me. That connection is, like I said, maybe abstract and slightly inexplicable, but as Ballard says to him, you look into that darkness, and I think it's some of it's gotten into you. Harry's darkness hasn't gotten into me. Uh, More than anything, Harry's humanity has gotten into me, and it's a tremendous gift. It's a gift. I always feel like, despite the fact that he's a fictional character, I feel like he's always right next to me.
Next up, Dale.
Um, we already established that Maggie Q will be spinning it off with Renee Ballard into her own series. And I know you maybe got to shoot a few things over there or whatnot. But what do you say to people who are kind of reluctant or on the fence about jumping over to a new title character, about moving on from Harry Boss centric?
I think you have to remember that the source material is Michael Connolly, right? This is his books. Bosch and Ballard, occupy the same universe. So I encourage people to watch the show because Maggie Q is exceptional in the role. She owns it completely. Um, and in a beautifully nuanced performance. And they have assembled a great cast of supporting actors in that show, and those stories are every bit as compelling as the stories that were the Bosch books. So um, I say don't hesitate. I say jump in um, because it's a good ride. It's well worth everyone's time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jamie Ruby.
You said that you've gotten humanity from him, but what specifically has he taught you about yourself that's changed in you since you started the project?
Well, I think there's a similarity and there's a dynamic that exists, and I know this has been written about, and I've certainly discussed it in interviews. I've sustained personal loss and had tragedy in my life, and as has Harry, and I think um, that's informed a lot of things. Not only the man that I've become, but the man that Harry Bosch has become. And I think that sharing that, but I'm a more emotionally demonstrative person. I'm not an internalized person like Harry is. Um, but we're just kind of kindred spirits. So when I say it's not that I was low on my humanity
Oh, I know.
scale, but I think that seeing the way that Harry Bosch navigates life and in the face of someone who deals in tragedy every single day for their job has allowed me to, um, I don't know, to a certain degree, in an odd way, heal myself, maybe through the experience of playing that character who doesn't has not allowed himself to do that. It's I look at that in a reflective way and say, I don't want to, I don't want to process it that way. There's a right and there is no recipe for processing grief, right? It's part of the human condition and everyone does it differently. Um, so I think it's more of a connection to Harry, and less some of him spilling over. Although my children will tell you that they're and I was certainly unaware of this, that there were certain physical tics and tells that manifested in my characterization of Harry that were ones that belonged to me. And once I was made aware of it, I became self-conscious. But then I sort of went, well, no, it works. It kind of works for the character. So I'll keep it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Jerry, back to you.
Okay, my next question is your favorite Bosch episode.
Oh my goodness. That's an impossible question to answer because every episode, because of the quality, the incredible writing, the words that I got to speak and the actors that I got to work with and directors, producers and everything. They're kind of all my favorite. And I don't mean to be obtuse, but certainly some seasons had very deep emotional scenes to play, and those are very challenging. So, and offered me some genuine growth as an artist, and so I I'm grateful for those. But the 10 years of playing this character has just been an ongoing kind of train of that fills me with tremendous gratitude.
All right, Suzanne.
All right. So I read that you said that you're not going to be in Ballard very much. And is it if that's the case? And also, do you know if any of the other Bosch actors and characters are going to be in it?
I don't know. I don't know if they are. What little I know, I was not a producer on the Ballard show or anything, so I was not, reading the script, so I couldn't even tell you really what the Bible, as they refer to as, the reference of the storyline, for the season. What I can say or repeat is that how well uh, Maggie Q has taken ownership of that character. She really, really has done an incredible job. And I read all the books and I do the audio books. Um, so I'm very, very familiar and close to that relationship and also to the Ballard character. And she she does a chef's kiss to what she's doing there. So the audiences will be fulfilled with her characterization of it.
Okay, well, nice answer. Thank you so much.
Sure, thank you.
All right, we've got time for one more question. Jamie Steinberg.
All right, Titus, that's a lot of pressure for me, and I guess for you as well. What are you personally taking away from your time working on Bosch? Is there something you've learned about yourself, maybe from along this process?
Um, well, a lot. And it's hard to answer in a sound bite size answer. So I would say what I have taken away from this experience most of all is it has renewed my faith in that which we do. We work in show business, right? We are in the business of entertaining people. In the process of creating that which entertains people, you forge relationships with people, and I I have formed relationships with Michael Connolly and Thomas Bernardo and Eric Obermeyer and Peter Jan Brugge and Henrik Basten, the producers, so many people, and the cast that are and crew, that are lifelong relationships that I cherish, people that I have deep and profound affection for, that I will, and also working relationships that will continue in the future. It's not like, we don't see each other, offset. We go to each other's houses. We have meals out. We do things together, and we talk on the phone and we text, and that's really the greatest gift of it, is that to reflect upon that is the enormous gift of being blessed with working with so many wonderful, wonderful people for all these years. And I think that's the other, and it's somewhat rarefied. That's not always the case, right? I've been on sets where you have actors and producers and directors that don't get along, and it's kind of weird and awkward and uncomfortable. But our environment has always been one of inclusion and collaboration and respect, and rooted in the same core value, which is love, which is love for art, love for what we do, and the appreciation of the fans and the people that are not only entertained but feel a connection to these characters and to this show. And I find that deeply moving and extremely touching, and that fills my heart with a tremendous amount of gratitude, tremendous gratitude.
Another reminder how great you are as an actor, too. Just
Oh,
saying.
well, thank you. Bless you. That's a very kind thing to say, and I appreciate it.
Gotta get you a Bosch tattoo now, then I guess. You've been Bosch for so long, he might be marked on you at some point.
Oh, I've got one right here. I have Hold Fast. And that's the one that Harry had on his knuckles that he had to punch the brick wall to remove, but I put it on there permanently.
Well earned, well earned. Thank you, Titus, for all of your
Thank
time
you.
today.
Thank you all. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Our pleasure.
Thank you, everyone.
You.
Should we move
Thank
on
Thank
to
you,
the
everybody.
room?
Bye-bye.
Have a blessed day, everyone.